Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Janina and I am back in good old Germany, or more specifically, I'm back in Hamburg. I came back from my time in Japan and yeah, now I'm back in my old room with my old shelves and my old posters and all this. In case you were wondering, I'm not in Tokyo anymore, but I am now back in my hometown Hamburg in my old room. And actually the past few days I spent a lot of time just like going through my stuff and throwing a lot of things away, because just like when you come back from a long time being abroad or just like living somewhere else for a while and you come back, you kind of want to throw things out and sort through everything, and that's what I did, and that's why today's video is going to be a book unhaul. I have a lot of German books here, of course, but I also have some English books, so yeah, like without further ado, let's get started with the books that I'm going to unhaul and just donate to places, basically. So yeah, let's get started. The first two books that I have here are Darren Chan books, the first one and the second one. They're both in German and I only read the first one. It's been years since I had these and I never picked up the second one. They're both in German, like I said, and I probably will never continue with this series because I'm not a big fan of vampire stories, and there's a vampire in here, so there you go. So these will go. Then I have The Rivers of London, or in German Die Flüsse von London, by Ben Aronovich, I think. Aronovich. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, but yeah, this one I actually read also a really long time ago, and it was really confusing for me, to be honest, because it has so many English names and I could not remember who was who and who was doing that, and I was just really confused while I was reading this, even though it was German. So yeah, this will go. I will never read it again. I don't know if I will continue with the series, and if I would probably pick it up in English, but I don't know if that's gonna be even more confusing than it is already in German. So yeah, this will go. Then I have a German book about Tokyo. It's called Tokyo Total, or like Totally Tokyo, whatever you want to say. It's about a German guy being like living in Tokyo and experiencing how odd Japan can be and like his experiences with Japanese culture, basically. So I read this in like a few days and I didn't like it very much, to be honest, because it's very stereotypical, and of course, like I lived in Japan now as well, but some of this just was not funny, even though it was trying to be funny. So yeah, I don't need it. Then I have a Dexter book. This is a German version of a Dexter book, which is called Des Todes dunkler Bruder. So in English it would be Dark Dreaming Dexter. I'm not sure. It's the first Dexter book, but in German. I read it, I liked it, but if I would pick up the series, I would probably pick it up in English. I have an English Dexter book here as well somewhere, but yeah, I liked it, but it's not something that I will probably continue in the near future, so, and especially not in German, so this first book can go. Then I have a gay romance book called oh my god, I don't even want to like say it out loud, but it's like basically a book about like Japanese guys doing sexy things. I read through the first chapter and I hated it because in German this is just absolutely terrible, so this will go. I don't know if someone will actually be happy to read this, but I was not happy to read this. Then I have a book called Körperstrafen, which is a book about, I think, torture devices and just in general torture in like really old times, I believe. I think there's like parts in Latin in this, which I will not understand, obviously, because I cannot understand Latin, but it has like pictures in it, how like people were tortured with what kind of devices. And when I was younger, I was really interested in that kind of stuff because humans are terrible and they do things to other beings, and that's just, and I was really, well, I was fascinated by it basically, but I never read through it because it's very dry and I did not care for it anymore, or I do not care for it anymore. So I don't care. It can go. Then I have some books here that I read while being in school that I will never ever pick up again because I read them while I was in school and I didn't care for them then, and I do not care for them now. The first one is a book about football or soccer, and I don't care. Then I have Wilhelm Tell by Schiller, which I will probably never read. It's a reclam, so it's like super cheap, and I don't care. It's just, I don't care. Then I have Das Muschelessen by Birgit Vanderbeke. I think this is about a family who's like sitting together at like in dinner time, and they talk about their problems and they eat clams. I think that's all I remember because I was really young when I read this. So yeah, and I will never ever read this again. So goodbye. Then I have Agnes by Peter Stamm. I don't remember what this was about. I think it's about a guy falling in love with a girl, maybe, or something. I think it's probably about love because the name of the book is a woman's name, so I think it's probably about like a romantic thing. And I never read this, even though we had to read it for school, but I didn't care, so I never read it, and I will never read it. Then I have Wojciech. I also read this for school. It's by Georg Büchner. I don't remember. It's about a guy called Wojciech, but I cannot tell you what this is about anymore. So this will go as well. So these are all like school books that I don't care about anymore, and I will never read them again because my school time has been over for a long time now. Then I have some English books that I will get rid of or donate, whatever. And the first thing is the Maze Runner series I will get rid of by James Dashner. I read the first one and I didn't like it at all. I never picked up the rest, even though I had this for 5 years, 6 years now. I don't know when this came out. I bought this when the first movie came out because I was like, oh, I like the movie. Yeah, I actually liked the movie because it was fun, so it was entertaining. So I was like, oh man, I think I want to read the books after, and I never did. I don't care. I will never read them, so these will leave. Then, like I mentioned before, I have Dearly Devoted Dexter, which is, I think, the third book in the Dexter series, or the second book, I'm not sure. I read this, it was fine. I think it was, I like the Dexter idea of like a murderer murdering bad people. I really like that. I'm into stuff like that. But I heard like the further the books go, the more it gets like really romantic, just like the TV show I heard. So I don't care. I read it. I will probably never read it again. So this will also go. Then I have The Devil's Detective by Simon Kurt Unsworth. I bought this on Amazon because it was €3, I think, and I thought, well, why not? It's about hell and a detective in hell solving crimes with weird creatures, and I thought that sounds interesting. I like weird creatures, I like hell, I like dark stories, but it was terrible. I didn't like it. I think I gave it 1 point something stars or 2 points. I really didn't like it. I will never pick up the rest of the series because I just dislike this very much. So it can go. Then I have Carrie by Stephen King here in this version, and I read it. I like Carrie a lot. It was my first Stephen King book I ever read. It's about a girl with kind of like supernatural powers, and she's, yeah, being bullied, and then stuff happens basically. And I liked it. I had fun reading this. Like, I don't want to keep this version, to be honest. I bought it because it was really cheap. So, but all my other Stephen King books are in a different version, like from a different publisher. And like, I would buy this again in a different version because I don't like this anymore. This terrible version. But yeah, I liked it, but I just don't like this version anymore. Then I have Star Wars The Force Awakens by Alan Dean Foster, which is the novel adaptation of the first movie of the new trilogy, and I read this after I watched the movie, obviously, and I think it was alright. I think I gave it 3 stars, but it's nothing special. I like the movie way better. There's nothing, like, there's not much new stuff in here or that they added to the book that is not also in the movie. So yeah, just watch the movie. Don't don't read the book, just watch the movie. It's really nice, right? So this can go. Then I have Red Dragon by Thomas Harris, and I had this for years and years because I love Hannibal. More specifically, I love the TV show Hannibal, like, over everything. It's my favorite TV show, and I was like, well, it's kind of not really adapting this book, but it's part of it, so I kind of want to read this. But I never did because I'm so obsessed with the TV show that I do not care about this book anymore because it's not the TV show, and I love the TV show and not the book. So this can go. I hope someone else will be happy to have this, even though I heard it's a really good book. But I think I started this once, but I never finished it. So yeah, I don't care. With all the books, I really don't care with all of these. So there you go. Then I have Prince of Thorns by Marc Lowrance. Yeah, by Marc Lowrance, which is the first book in like this trilogy. I have the second one, which is King of Thorns. No, King of something. I don't know. Well, it's the second book basically in this series. I read this. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the writing very much, and I was very confused by this book, to be honest, because you get like thrown into the story and you're like, what is happening? I think it's about a guy who gets kidnapped, and people think he's a prince, and people think that he is dead, but he isn't. He survived like his kidnapping and torture thing that happened. So now he's out for revenge, because I think one of his family members was actually the one who did that kidnapping, I think, to him. I'm not so sure. I don't remember very much. So now he wants to, yeah, step up and be king. And he's very brutal. I think he's a very, very problematic character and very dark, but I like that. I like that kind of character. So I will continue with the series, but I'm not sure when, but I will never pick this first book up ever again. So yes, this will leave my home. Then I have American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which I read, and it took me forever to read this book because I didn't like it at all. I was continuously confused, and I just didn't like it. I didn't care for it at all. I didn't care for the characters very much, except for the main character. And it was too chaotic, in my opinion, that book. I don't know. I couldn't get into it very well. And so this can go. Maybe I should just watch the TV show on Amazon. Maybe that's a better idea. But yeah, anyway, this will go. And the last book that I have here is The 5 Stages of Andrew Brawley by Sean David Hutchison. Yes. I read this as well, and I didn't really like it, to be honest. The guy is in the hospital because of something that happened, but I don't remember very well anymore. And he, like, it's also with art, so it's kind of, it's like a book, but also with like graphic novel things in it, so with graphic novel style in it sometimes, and which I liked. I like the art style. It's pretty cool, like, to have this like kind of comic thing in this book, but I was just not into this very much. He falls in love with a guy in the hospital, and they kind of get through this hospital experience together, I think. But like I said, I didn't care for it very much. I think I gave it 2 stars, and yeah, so this can go as well. But yeah, these are all the books I will get rid of or donate or gift to friends if they want them, but I don't really think so. So yeah, this is all I have for you today, a book on haul from me. And yeah, I hope you're all doing great. I'm doing well-ish. I have a cold still, but it's only like a little of sniffling, and I'm just tired constantly, but I think that's because I'm back in Germany and I still have a little bit of a jet lag. But yeah, anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're all having a good day while you're watching this, and I will see you hopefully in the next video. Goodbye.